Hello, friends. I hope you guys have all had a wonderful week. Well, it has been a news-filled week this week in a lot of ways as we have learned more and more about just what our new school year is going to look like this year. So as I was thinking about our Sunday school lesson for this week, I had some things that I wanted to share with you about that. And remember that one of our Vacation Bible School videos captured a whole lot of what I was going to say. So I invite you guys to watch with me as Mr. Dave Culberson, who is a member of Muncie Church, shares a little bit about his life and his skills and some lessons he's learned along the way. So watch Mr. Dave's video with me.
Hello, Muncie Vacation Bible School. I hope you're having a great day. I'm really happy to be here with you today. And although we can't actually be together through technology and some really cool things, we can still be together on the internet. My name is Dave Culberson. I'm the chairman of the SEND team at Muncie. And that's the committee that's responsible for most of the mission programs at the church. Our committee works very hard to make sure the needy people in Johnson City and in other parts of the world feel loved and that they have enough food and clothing and a place to stay. When Miss Katie and Miss Kristi asked me to talk with you about how I've been serving God at Muncie, I was really excited. As you can tell, I'm not in my living room. This is my workshop, which my daughter affectionately calls Papa's workshop. My grandkids call me Papa. And she actually made this cool little sign for me to hang on the door of the workshop, which I really like. A few years ago, I discovered that I had a new talent. I learned how to take a piece of equipment like this lathe, which you saw earlier, and some special tools to cut wood and make things like bowls and vases and kids' toys and other neat things. For example, the cool thing about wood turning is I can take a piece of rather ugly wood like this that's got cracks in it, it's dirty, it's kind of moldy, it's broken, it's got bark on it. It's something that most people would just throw away, burn in their fireplace. And I can turn it into something beautiful, like this. This is an urn that I made this year. Actually, it's my COVID-19 urn. It's made from the very same piece of wood. I cut this wood in half, and this is one half, and this came from the other half. And you can see the beauty that's inside that wood that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to see. Most of the time, I'm really surprised by what I find inside a piece of wood like this. And many times it's a thing of beauty that no one would have otherwise seen. Wood turners know how to look at a piece of wood like this and see something beautiful, something that other people wouldn't see. Sometimes, pardon me for reaching, but sometimes a wood turner can actually take a piece of wood like this that is very ugly. It's messed up on the inside and it's messed up on the outside. This is a piece of maple burl that I cut last year. But we can take that and turn it into something that has its own beauty. It may not be as polished and smooth, but it is beautiful nonetheless. And that piece of wood actually was used to make this bowl. This is a bowl that's got irregularities in the edges, it's got bark, and it's full of holes in the center. But I think it has its own beauty that we never would have seen otherwise. As a wood turner, it's my job to discover that hidden beauty so that other people can enjoy it. And I love it when I'm successful at that. Sometimes I think it's the same with people. God can see the beauty that's on the inside even when we can't. When we're lonely or hurting or upset or scared, God still loves us and He can turn us into something really beautiful. Wouldn't it be great if we could actually see the beauty inside other people, no matter what they were like on the outside? There are many places in the Bible where Jesus tells us no matter what we think about ourselves and no matter how broken or upset we might be, God thinks we are beautiful and He loves us despite our pains, despite our fears, and despite our imperfections. Not too long ago, someone actually asked me if they could buy one of my bowls. I was very surprised because I really never thought I was that good at wood turning. But it got me thinking, maybe this new talent of mine could be used in some way to serve others and to serve God. One day, a few years ago, God reminded me of an older minister friend in my hometown when I was growing up. His name was Carl Looney. His son, Richard Looney, actually became one of Muncie's great ministers a few years later, probably before most of you were born. Carl Looney didn't have much money or things, but he was one of the kindest and gentlest people I ever knew. When I was very young, he started a mission project to raise money to help find a cure for leprosy in Africa. He and his wife, Ruth, used their talents to make jams and jellies and to grow fresh vegetables in their garden to sell. He put a basket, I can remember so clearly, he put a basket alongside the road on a bench, and when people drove by, they would stop and pick up something, and then they would drop nickels and dimes and quarters in that basket to pay for what they took. It was an honor system, but he didn't really worry about anything that got taken and not paid for because he knew some of the people in that area couldn't afford to buy them. It was a very successful ministry, and by the time he died, he had raised over $1 million to help cure leprosy in Africa. Well, I decided I could probably do the same thing with my wood turning. Maybe not so much money, but I could do some good. So I started selling my bowls and vases and other things to raise money for missions at Muncie. I've decided to give 100% of the money I get from selling my products to missions or to charity. And it really gives me a good feeling knowing that I'm serving God by supporting the missions work at Muncie. Out in our backyard, we have an old apple tree that's very special to our family. We call it Allen's apple tree, and it's been in our family a long time. In 1982, when we lived in Virginia, our son Allen planted an apple seed while he was eating lunch one day. He worked hard to make sure it grew strong and healthy, watering it and feeding it. And when he wasn't around anymore to take care of it, it became my responsibility. By the time we moved to Johnson City, I thought I'd done a pretty good job of taking care of it. But after a couple years, I realized, no, it wasn't you, David. God was actually the one taking care of that tree. Starting with that tiny little apple seed, God created a beautiful tree that has produced delicious apples and beautiful blooms for almost 40 years now. That tree became a new symbol to me of how God has been working in my life. He's continued to mold me into a better person, despite what I may have thought about myself, and He's shown me new ways I can serve. Allen's tree went through some very tough times in recent years, and it looks pretty bad on the outside right now. But God never gave up on that tree. I think He wanted it to be an important part of my life too, so that I could see Him and serve Him in a new way. Every time I look at Allen's tree, I get good feelings. And it's a constant reminder that God loves me, that He's always with me, He's always taking care of me, and that He's happy when I serve Him. I hope each of you will find your own talent someday. And if you do, don't let it go to waste. Use it to serve God in everything you do. I guarantee it will make you happy, and I guarantee it will make God very happy. Thanks for spending some time in my workshop with me today. I hope you have a great day and that you really enjoy the rest of Vacation Bible School.
Okay, so while sitting in his workshop, Mr. Dave talks about how God can take people and our abilities and use them to create something absolutely beautiful. Just as he did with that mangled up piece of wood, he was able to look at it and turn it into this beautiful urn or a beautiful bowl, something different and something unexpected. God took his abilities and his skills and was able to create something beautiful out of something that didn't look quite like what we would expect. You know, it's really kind of the same way with situations that aren't quite perfect either. Just like that imperfect piece of wood, sometimes situations we look at just don't seem perfect. And for some of you, that might be how you're looking at this new school year. But we have an amazing ability to take something that may look ugly or just not quite what we expected or wanted, and we can turn it into something beautiful too. You know, usually we have no idea just how many beautiful and wonderful and amazing things can come out of situations that just aren't what we expected with, or that may just be different. Just because something is different doesn't mean it can't be amazing and bring all sorts of blessings with it. So as we spend this week getting ready and getting geared up for a new school year and making sure we have our Chromebooks and our computers and our supplies and all of our things ready, I really want to challenge you this week to take a look for ways you can use your attitudes and your actions to make this an especially beautiful school year. Even though it's going to look a little bit different at the start, you know, you're still able to take your warm and your caring hearts and maybe send an email or drop a note in the mail to your new teacher to encourage them, because this is different for them too. Maybe you make sure you take some extra time to say thank you to your moms or dads or grandparents or other family members who are going to be helping you a little more than usual with the school year. Maybe you can think of ways that you can help a younger brother or a younger sister with their studies or by reading a book with them. There are so many ways that you can take this very new and very different school year and make it absolutely beautiful. Just as Mr. Dave said, God has given each of us these incredible abilities and talents, and you can use those gifts to make a huge difference and make things absolutely beautiful. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I love you guys. I miss you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.